Good evening, everyone. Who are good? This auspicious event, I would like to welcome you all to the International Virtual Workshop on Research Article Writing and Publications in High Impact Journals, jointly organized by Lavant Literary Club India, Capcom Marine Trust, Malaysian Industry and Resource Association Malaysia. Today we have two speakers, Dr. P. Joachim, Assistant Professor of English and Dean of Arts, St. Xavier's College, Palankote, Tamil Nadu, and Dr. Christy Pauline J., Assistant Professor and Head of the Department of English, Bishop Carwell College, Marwan Madam, Thuthukudi, Tamil Nadu. Moderator of today's event, Dr. Aloysius Albert, Assistant Professor of English and Dean of Students at St. Xavier's College, Palankote. Formerly, he served as the Editor of English at Anandar College, Madurai. He has 8 years of teaching experience and published more than 32 research articles in the national and international journals and edited 6 books and organized 3 national seminars. He is specialized in African literature and interested in exploring ancient wisdom, its relevance to the modern world. He has received Lavender Award 2021 for his outstanding contributions to resource sharing, teaching and research. We feel delightful to invite Dr. to this scenario. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Yes, I'm audible.
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Oh, yes, thank you. So, thanks for the welcome. So, today we have two speakers, and it's very interesting that the pandemic has created an online teaching and learning, and also it has increased a thirst for article writing and publications. Okay, so I find the relevance of the workshop, international workshop, and I find Dr. Ganeshan sir, Dr. Narasimha Murthy sir, and many other eminent personalities and scholars almost all over India and abroad. And very happy to see you all in this online platform. Okay. And we have 2 sessions today, and the first sessions will be handled by Dr. D. Joachim. Okay. To speak about Dr. D. Joachim, okay. He's an assistant professor of English and Dean of Arts at St. Xavier's College, Palankote, Tamil Nadu. Very simple, very humble personality. Okay, and a kind of, he's my colleague and very approachable person. Okay, and he has done, of course, his BA, MA at Adityanara College of Arts and Science at Tiruchendur. Okay. And he has, to his credit, also his BEd program at St. Xavier's College of Education. And then his MPhil at American College, Madurai, and his PhD at the Kamaraj University, Madurai Kamaraj University. And very learned and professor. Okay. Within 3 years of term, he has completed his, he has guided 4 persons of PhD. Okay. And then I think first time I find all the 4 candidates are completing at the same time within 3 years. Okay. It's a very, very hardworking person, and you give him any work and then said he finishes on time. He has experience of more than 12 years of teaching experience, and he's published 2 books on technical English. Okay. And he also takes a lot of online courses, online classes on soft skills. Okay. He's well trained on soft skills, and he has also publications. Okay, very renowned journals, more than 15 publications, and he has presented international and national level seminars and webinars. He has presented papers, and he is well versed in communicative English. Of course, he handles communicative English. Okay, and he is also very eminent personality in the sense of speaker. Okay, he is a speaker and debater. rather he speaks well in Tamil and English. Okay, because he has been well trained by Wipro or Infosys. He was the trainer in Wipro or Infosys, and that's why he's well versed in training. Of course, the department is very blessed to have Dr. D. Joachim. Okay. So, on behalf of everyone present here, I welcome Dr. Joachim to speak to us on research writing. Because research writing, the moment you hear about research writing today, is very difficult. Okay. People think that it's so easy. You can just copy and paste and then submit it. So it's not that easy. Okay. I think he is the one who has guided, almost 4 persons within 3 years, and then he will give us right perspective how to write, and also publications in the high impact journal, because that matters a lot. Okay. So on behalf of everybody present here, I welcome Dr. D. Joachim. Joachim, sir, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm really privileged to be the resource person of this international virtual workshop. So today I'm going to deliver a lecture on how to write a research article. So first, let me thank Lavender Literary Club and Malaysian Industrial Relations and Human Resource Association for giving me this wonderful opportunity. So before I start, let me present my screen so that I can show my PPT. Do you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, nowadays it is very much important to do research. So these are the pictures I just happened to come across. So in the process of instructing regarding research. So of course, the first picture in the left side shows, so it is just we are focusing. And the next one, right side, someone, it is a symbolic representation. A person who is doing very serious research, we cannot sleep or sit on the books like this, but we have to read a lot of books. So of course, theoretical input is important. The next one, these are the questions to be asked by a researcher at all levels. So the questions like all the WH questions: who, what, where, when, why, how. So the thing is, the entire research process is an attempt to find an answer for something, or the entire process is a kind of the journey to discover something. At the end, something may lead to some new inventions. So the fourth picture, so that typically shows the state of mind of many individuals who are involved in serious research. Of course, this is the process, or this is the state which we all have to come across at one point of the research life. So my outline of this presentation will be, so first I'll be talking about what is research, the purpose of research, characteristics of research, qualitative versus quantitative research, so developing theoretical base for a research paper, and one sample of construction of a paragraph in a research article. Then of course, I'll give 2 exercises minimum, maximum 3 exercises. So I'll invite some answers from you. Just I'll analyze the quality of those articles, that paragraph. And finally, it will be a summation. Well, so what is research? Research is not just joining a PhD program or MPhil program and doing research for 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. So it is an attitude of inquiry. So we people should involve in the research for a longer period of time. We have to dedicate ourselves. Of course, our attitude should be oriented, sharpened towards research. So whatever is taken, just like that, see, So we have electricity. So we use this online platform for this conference. Well, have you ever thought of who invented Google Meet or who invented Google? So just if we ask these questions and try to find answer, so that is research. So research is an attitude of inquiry which we have to start from the beginning. The second one is it is an attempt to elicit facts. Of course, in the modern time, as Nietzsche says, there is more than one truth. So there is no truth at all. So what do we see is our perception. So if we find something is a truth, so it need not be, or it may be one part of the truth. So research is something that delves deep into an idea or a topic. So where we go deeper and deeper and elicit the fact. So the facts are hidden somewhere. So it is marked by something else. So we uncover those things, then we find out so what is there available. Then it is a systematic and scholarly application of the scientific method. So just like that, so if you want to know some truth, so it is like, for example, if you go to a new place and want to locate a particular person's house, so just like that, we ask, so do you know this person? Where is this street? So it is a casual inquiry. Whereas when it comes to serious research, it should be scientific. So we have to follow a method which is proven. So we have to read a lot of research articles, and we should have a base. Based on that, we have to apply those ideas based on the scientific method. Then only the facts that we elicit will be appropriate. Then it is a state of mind. So actually, you can observe research scholars. So at the beginning, they just do something. So with all the beginning, with all the enthusiasm, so once they get a guide, so they just get registered and they are enthusiastic. Slowly, when the time progresses, so the relationship between this one guide and board and the love for the subject, the love for the topic, so all these things are getting vanished slowly. So here, so what I would advocate is whether you are writing a research paper or you are writing a thesis, so you should have developed a state of mind which always thinks of research. Of course, a person who does serious research can never concentrate on other things. That is the fact. So if a person is able to manage more than one thing apart from research, that person is really blessed. Then at this moment, so of course, you people are scholarly people. So most of you know what is research. Some of you may be the scholars who are doing PhD. For you people, this input may be very, very helpful. For example, a simple incident I can quote. Well, if what is research? So if you swing a coin, so it may be head or tail. So both possibilities, 50-50. So 5 times if you do it, it is not research. But if you swing the coin, so 100 times. So mostly the possibility will be 50-50 or 45 to 45 is to 55. So this is called research. So when you do something repeatedly in a given framework, then that becomes research. Well, sometimes when we go for purchasing something, so just like that, we ask what is the price, then we bargain and get it. Instead, if you go to online and just collect information about that quality, warranty, price. So if you compare different manufacturers' products, then the attitude of inquiry comes, the state of mind of research comes. So the thing is, whatever we do in our life, if we approach that very seriously, we can consider it as a serious research. Then, what is the need for research? Why do we do research? So, 3 reasons. Number 1, academic purpose. Of course, many aspirants across the world are doing research, especially enrolling themselves in a PhD program, because Once they complete that, they'll get better employment. If they are already employed, then they will get career advancement. So this is the first thing. Then afterwards, then invention. Actually, there are some people. So they may have academic reasons, they may have employment. Beyond that, they will have passion. So dear people, so the very important thing to evolve as a researcher is to have passion towards research. All the scientific inventions are done by the people who have passion for research. So we know the stories and biographies of so many researchers and so many inventors. Actually, they almost forget their life. So they sacrifice their personal life and they completely dedicate themselves into research. That is the reason why they are able to come out with new things and they contribute to the humanity. So the need for researchers, it may be academic purpose, it may be employment, or it may be the purpose of inventing something new. But what is required? So whatever may be these purposes, a person who has the passion towards the research definitely will do greater things or contribute or enrich the field of knowledge. So before I enter into the other aspects, so let me sum up some of the characteristics of the research. Of course, it is gathering new knowledge, then discovery of new principles. So this is the point where many researchers, they go wrong. Actually, we read books, we collect facts, and we gain knowledge. And at that time, so how to discover new principles? So the very word discover itself says the fact that already the facts are there. So through the process of our inquiry, through the process of our research, we try to discover the facts that are already existing. So based on that, we can evolve new principles in a particular field. Then employing reliable data gathering. Of course, if you want to do research in a particular area, for example, somebody may be a commerce student. So what is the selling point in particular region? So then, so that person has to apply some theories. So he should have some that past knowledge based on review of literature. So in that case, he has to rely on some quality books. So the research that is already done on that particular paper, on that research area, should be read by the researcher so that that person can rely on some new things. Actually, whether you are writing a research paper or PhD thesis, MPhil thesis, your entire research is based on one single fact. So what is that? That is the research gap. Anybody's research can begin from that point. Then what is a research gap? So in most of the PhD vivas, the external examiners ask this very simple question. So what is the research gap you identified? So then many people, they get confused. So it is very, very simple. Actually, in the process of research writing, first, so we go for review of literature. Review of literature in the sense, so reading books or articles related to that particular field. So we come to know about what is already existing in that particular field. So we enrich that. So that is first part. Then you find a particular part. Okay, this is the thing that is not dealt. So based on that, you frame your own hypothesis. So hypothesis, based on that, you can evolve your own thesis title. I hope you get my point. So what is research gap? So you go for literature review on any topic. It may be science or humanities. So this is a mandatory section in the introductory part. So you read all the existing books or knowledge on a particular field. Then, so you identify something is missing. Then, so you feel that based on that, I can enrich this field by doing research. So this gap, so the thing that is missing, That is called research gap. So while you are doing literature review, so you have to depend on the previous knowledge that is given by the serious work. Then you should have logical, you should be logical and you should be objective. So logical in the sense, so there is a serious difference between fiction and research. For example, if you write an essay for examination, then you can add so many things. You can add your own views, this and that. But whereas in research, it should be purely based on facts. It should be a logical sequence. Then objective. Well, let me concentrate on this very important fact. So it is said, your thesis or your research should be objective and not subjective. What is subjective? When I just share my view with the research that I am doing, then my research will become subjective. So the researcher should stand away from the research problem. So the researcher should stand away from the research problem. I used to tell my students like this. So, okay, who is your research author? So in English literature, students mostly they depend on a particular writer and his books. And then after taking that, so students used to, then why did you choose that author? So most of the students say, so he is my favorite author. Salman Rushdie is my favorite author. Then Amitav Ghosh is my favorite author. So I do research on that. So this is the part where the students go wrong. So when I say, okay, Salman Rushdie is my favorite author, there itself I become subjective. So whatever is written by Salman Rushdie will look like it is from Bible. So I will not differ with Salman Rushdie. Then subjective research will be there, objective will not be there. Sometimes I used to say, so if a person does research on, so a male doing research on female, a female doing research on male character, a male or female doing research on the problems of transgender. So there, some people may think, how can I do that? But dear learners, it is very important. So that is the right platform for research, because there you stand away from research problem. So your personal views will not have a say in that. So you'll be purely depending on the sources, materials available at hand. So your research will be objective. So your research should be objective. Then it is hypothesis oriented. Already I told you what is research gap. So based on that, we form the title. So based on the title, we evolve hypothesis. So there is a difference between hypothesis and thesis statement. So popular questions in PhD vivas. So what is the hypothesis? Hypothesis is a statement which we formulate before doing the research or at the beginning of the research. So we know some facts about a particular topic. So we fix the topic based on the research literature review. Then approximately we frame a statement, okay, this will be this. Whereas thesis statement is made after your research. So in this statement, either you prove or disprove your hypothesis. I hope you take my point. So this hypothesis is made at the beginning of the research before you involve in serious research. So hypothesis is formulated based on the literature review, identifying the research gap. Whereas thesis statement, after doing all the research, all your reading, then you formulate, okay, this is my finding. So finding may be a few. Based on the findings at the end of the research, when you make a single statement, that is called thesis statement. So hypothesis will lead to thesis statement. That is the one-line thing. Then you have to organize the data in a quantitative as well as qualitative form. So these two things I'll discuss a little bit later. So this is the most important thing. So a researcher should have patience and persistence. Of course, most of the researchers are like bottled sodas. So when you shake the sodas, so if you open the bottle, everything will come out just like that. So at the beginning of the research, the researchers are bubbling with energy, but slowly it degrades. So the thing is, it is very important to sustain that interest and spirit of inquiry till the end of the research. So till the end of your life, because it is a lifelong process. Another thing, so patience is needed. Actually, many people they used to read a lot. So I have observed many good readers are not good writers of research papers. The thing is, they read a lot, everything gets stored in their mind. So when they sit, they are not able to write. So mark my words, if you are in the process of research writing, most of the people may say, so I have everything in my mind, it doesn't come out. This is a block we have to overcome. So this is common to everyone during the process of research. So what you have to do at this stage is very simple. So at least every day write one page. Every day at least read 5 pages. So my guide, Dr. Stanley Mohandas, used to say, if you don't feel studying and writing on a particular day, at least you read one paragraph and write one sentence. So this keeps you in the research orientation. So that will help you to that. So you need patience and you need persistence until you complete the research. Then finally, you should go for careful generalizations and conclusion. Just like that, so in group discussion, students used to say, 10 members may discuss. At the end, a person will share his point as a conclusion. In research, it cannot be. Already I told you, it should not be subjective. It should be only objective. Right. Next. So two types of research we have to understand. One is qualitative research. Another one is quantitative research. So what is qualitative? All research that comes under humanities, most of the things are qualitative. So especially English literature students, if anyone does research in literature, so that can be qualitative research. So then regarding science, and so all the things are quantitative. It is based on numbers. Even in English, if a person does research in ELT, that is English language teaching, so the student researcher may meet many students and give questionnaire, collect data and consolidate. There the research becomes quantitative. So qualitative, if there is a writer called Untitled Chapter, all the novels put together, the research is done, that is qualitative. So what is the beauty of qualitative research? Actually, there is a misconception that some people look down towards the humanities subject and research. It is not so. So because the beauty of qualitative research is one piece of poem may be given to 100 students in the class. Ask them to read and come out with their own interpretation. Surprisingly, you will find 100 different interpretations. So in qualitative research, the beauty is, so everyone will approach a particular thing, so they from their own point of view. So that is more important. So it is an additional enrichment of existing knowledge. Whereas quantitative research and science research is different. A person may do research in one corner of India. So with this formula, if you add this chemical with that chemical, this is the result. Across the world, anybody can use the same formula and mix the chemical. That person will get the same result. So this is the beauty and authenticity of science quantitative research. Well, now we have come to the very important part. So how to develop a theoretical base for our research article. So far I gave a broad picture about how to write or how to involve ourselves in research. So now the serious point comes. So mostly when people try to write papers, research articles, it ends with summarization. So what is the difference between summary and serious research writing? Well, for example, you just read an article or you read a story. If you narrate or if you provide the gist of what you studied, then there is summary. So there no interpretation is there. At the same time, if you interpret for which you should have some theoretical base. For example, you can read Salman Rushdie's novels in different ways. You can read Amitav Ghosh novels in different ways. So Amitav Ghosh novels can be read from new historicism point of view. It can be interpreted in cultural point of view, cultural materialistic point of view. So different aspects of that. So eminent writers, theorists, so they have presented something. So based on that, if you are able to fix your text, chosen text, so based on that theory, then it will be good. So sometimes the students get confused. So I need theory. Where should I go? So where should you go? So it is simply found in the books. If you listen to quality lectures, if you attend quality conferences, if you read so many articles, past PhD thesis, very easily you will understand. So what is a theory, how to employ a theory. Actually, you may read a lot about theory. For example, you may read 4 or 5 books on new historicism, feminism, post-humanism, and anything. But hardly you will use 10 to 15 quotes in your research paper. In research paper, 2 or 3 you may use, but in your PhD thesis, 10 to 15 quotes you will use, because if you use more quotes, so that will be the consolidation of their work. So where will be your opinion? So you should not break your head much in search of theory. The thing is, theory is needed, theory is important, but you should know the art of using the theory in the appropriate place in the minimal way. That is more important. So summarization will never be considered as a quality research, whereas research article is a serious inquiry. Then now, so the practical part I have come. So how to construct a research article paragraph. So every paragraph will have a topic statement. So if you have a research article, so you can break every article into different paragraphs. Every paragraph will have the topic statements. Topic statement will be placed at the beginning of the paragraph, most probably first and second sentences. So there you are just saying, what is that? You are saying, what is that? Then to support that, so you quote the textual line. So textual lines, so 2 ways you can quote. So running quote and intended quote. Running quote will be within 4 lines, 4 lines. So more than 4 lines, so it will be intended quote. Then running quote will take double quotes. Then intended quote will not take double quotes. Then so first topic statement, then textual lines, then afterwards it will be followed by your own interpretation. Here I have used the word interpretation very carefully. I have not said views of the researcher. No. If you say just views of yourself based on that particular thing, then it will become subjective. So the interpretation, what is said, is it right, or do you have any supporting document for that? So this should be organized. So now, dear all, so now I have a paragraph from Salman Rushdie's last novel, T-shirt. So now let me read. So let me present the context. Here, first let me read. You know great deal now. Some would say too much. but we are the good guys. We don't arrange for people to hit by trucks. So we'll be watching you. We are in your phone, your computer, every call, every keystroke. Don't even try to hide from us. Actually, here, this is a statement made by one police officer, intelligence officer, to to a character in Keyshot. So that person is helping the government regarding ethical hacking, right? So now I have presented the context to you. So what I suggest is at present is, now I'll share this particular line in the chat box. So I invite some interpretation for this particular line. So I share this. Will it not work? Okay, then in that case, let me present my screen so you can, dear organizers, is it possible to just enable the chat box so that the audience can interact with me based on that?
Yes, kindly enable the chat. Admin.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, so I have shared the same thing, same line. Yes, thank you. I have shared the same thing. So now I'll give you a few minutes time. You come out with your own. See, this is a very important line in the context how the government is looking into the personal details of the people uh, to control them. So how you will interpret this particular line? So just you give a few sentences based on that in the chat box, so that I'll show how this can be improved a little bit. I'll be waiting for a few minutes for your, yeah. Make it fast. The big brother is watching. Okay. We are omnipresent. Okay, good. Okay, well. So, well, yes, you keep sharing it. Well, I would like to point out a few things here. So, first, I appreciate the people for their active participation. First one, we are in control of them. In research writing, so we have to avoid the personal pronouns like I, we, our, because these are the words that show the research is subjective. Then the next line, the big brother is watching. Fine, good, good. So we are omnipresent. The word omnipresent is purely academic, very good. But that we, so we may be avoided. Then next one, Suman Burma has made like that. Someone is watching us to save us from the wrong. Okay, fine. Someone is watching, fine. Again, us. So the us can be watching all, watching all. Then suppressing the poor people, good. The power structure and surveillance which we find all around us. Yeah, Sajita. So that's fine. The sentence is absolutely fine. But again, the noun we may be avoided. So, well, so now based on the responses, let me consolidate only one thing here. It is very simple. When we go for serious article writing, it is very, very important we avoid that. We avoid the personal pronouns. Of course, from Sir Diksha Singh. So the idea of surveillance of state by Michael Foucault is clearly visible in the following lines. The control of state and lack of private life. Very beautiful. So here, so earlier I was just conveying that you should have a theoretical base and reference. So here, what is given by Diksha Singh is absolutely fine. Then Michael Foucault. So for English literature students, we know very well that Foucault is a very important writer and a theorist. So he has been referred here. So maybe in the further lines, it may be developed that so what was said. So what was said by Foucault can be quoted. So now let me share. So what based on that how an article was written. Here, the same paragraph that was expanded. It is true that the scientific gadgets have caused the privacy in many ways. The news of virus attack on computers are quite normal. In this novel, the American government is involved in a secret cyber project named Anthill. The country's top brains are identified and involved in the project. Sam Newcomb's, he is the protagonist of this novel, Keyshot. As Newcomb's son is also included on the government side. When the government finds out someone talented, that person cannot deny the offer. So this is made before the textual line. So the line goes like that. So then in this novel, the father is forced to convince the son to join the project, but later the FBI agent says this. So this is the statement. So what I gave in the form of a textual line is the statement by the FBI officer. So after the textual quote, let me share what was given. So here, look at that. This refers to the quote already given. This illustrates that the media and the political powers that control them never respect the privacy of the people. The trial faced by the Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg for sharing the personal data of the subscribers during the last American elections cannot be ignored. So here, after interpreting the textual line, so one contemporary relevance is also given. So this article was written in 2020. So at that time, so Mark Zuckerberg, the Facebook CEO, was undergoing a trial in America for sharing the personal data of the subscribers. Even now, the case is going on. So this is how a paragraph has to be organized. First, so based on some theory, you share something. Actually, this entire article comes under new historism, where contemporary history is being dealt with. Then see first the text. What is that? First the theoretical base and what you are trying to say. Then textual quote. Then followed by some explanation about the quote. So if you organize, so each and every paragraph one by one. So it is like building construction. So brick by brick you will add. Now let me give you another one more simple example I'll give. So it is from the novel The Gun Island by Amitav Ghosh. So a very popular writer. His latest novel. It was published in 2019. Actually, this is the concluding part of that novel. So this novel is about a kind of fantasy and it is the border between reality and fiction is blurred very beautifully. So the line comes like that. So I expect a few lines of interpretation from the participants for these lines. So many of us still believe our roots are in the past. This is not true. Our old places are gone. Our old languages are not spoken. Only we carry these things within us. Our roots are in ourselves and in each other. In our bodies and minds, we preserve our identity. Because of this, we can move, we can go out and conquer the world. So, dear participants, especially research scholars, I invite your own interpretation of these lines, just one or two lines. See, I have just given the context. So the protagonist at the end, actually, it is the narrator's voice. So how we try to go to the roots of the past, how we fail miserably, whereas we carry that past within our mind. So that is the meaning. So based on this line, so please try to frame your own sentences so that so we can interpret your sentences like please avoid the personal pronouns as some of the participants used earlier. But so maybe it may take a little bit time to type. Anyhow, one or two lines are enough. So this is the last part of my presentation. Afterwards, if there is any query, you can just raise. Somebody has raised the hand. Nandini ma'am, I think. Yeah. Be in the present and move forward. Okay, fine. For diaspora people. Well, exactly. So here, as Mr. R.A. Prabhabat said, it is very beautiful. So for diaspora people, so based on the diaspora theory, this passage can be interpreted well, because home is the place where we live, right? So it is not where we live, it is in our mind. Very good, very good. It is a beautiful theoretical lead. So any other interpretation? So it's good. Both respondents did not use any of the personal pronouns. That is well taken. That's good. So I hope a few of you are typing something. Okay, well. So here I can point out some of the finer things here. Well, as somebody pointed out here. So what is diaspora theory? So diaspora people who live in abroad, or they move from their native place, so that they have a sense of longingness. So they want to go back to their native place, so that it will be good for them. So they live in a place where something is imaginary. So they are chasing a place where which doesn't exist at all. So based on that, you can so one has to be satisfied with the way, so the way that person is the person is leading their life, because home is the place where you live, and the place it exists only in imagination. So a person who lives in his own native place, in his own house, may not feel so that he is at home. Whereas a person who lives in abroad, who is amidst friends, so who has so many good things, that person may enjoy life. So that is the important thing we have to follow. Well, to conclude my session, dear all, it is research writing is something a serious one. So whatever we do, so we have some serious work. So we have to do it systematically. We should have a theoretical base, especially so the people who are involved in qualitative research, they should have some theoretical base, so that their research article will be of good quality. Then, so once you are ready with your research article, you can go for publication. I hope the next speaker will give you a very good input on the publication side, because ma'am is known for her good contacts and contacts with the journals and other things. Ma'am will give you a good input on the publication part. Well, so that is the end of my presentation. I really thank the Lavender Literary Club and the other organizers for giving this wonderful opportunity. So if you have any doubt, you can share it in the chat box, or you can talk to me, so that I can give my opinion. Thank you, dear organizers. Dr.
Thank
Aloysius.
you. Thank you, Dr. Joachim, for a wonderful practical session. As usual, he has proved that he is actually guiding his research scholar in a way that really how to write a qualitative research. Okay, so now we are worried mostly in India. We are worried about the quantity of research, because the number of papers we need to publish for the sake of PhD or for the sake of guideship, but the quality is compromised in most of the cases. Okay, but he has proved, okay, that research is something that is very innovative, and it's very easy if you do it at a regular regular time. Okay, it's not something that you do only for MPhil or PhD, but it's regular. We need to write. Okay, so writing should become a habit. That's a skill, and he has proved what, right? So, any questions that you want? Somebody has raised. Nandini, you can ask. Maybe gives you 5 minutes of time for your interactions with the lecture that you have heard. Any clarification that you want to make?
Sir, may I have a question?
Yes, Ratan. Yes, please.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Yes,
Very
good
good presentation. Here, I would like to ask that while writing the research article, if we quote someone's that some ideas, and then we are giving the credit to him, and we are taking his review or citations. But
Yes.
while writing some statements and some lines, it will come under plagiarism. So how to avoid that plagiarism, because we are not having the checking the plagiarism.
Yes, sir. Yes.
After submitting the article to the journal, it will come under plagiarism. So what we can do to avoid this type of
Exactly, sir. Thank you, sir, for asking this question. Actually, do you have any other query, sir, or just it's over? Okay.
This one.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, if you take research before 10 years, before the outbreak of this internet era, so people had the source of the books. So they went to the library, collected books, and they just took notes and they acknowledged it properly. But now, given all the books are available online, so people collect so many things and they just forget to acknowledge the source. That is the problem. It is very simple to avoid plagiarism. So you read a text, you interpret. So the interpretation becomes your writing. But if you are using somebody's idea, then you have to acknowledge that person. So it is very simple. Once it happened in Nehru's life. Nehru happened to visit a minister's house where the minister's wife was scolding his son, a 14-year-old son. Then what was that? He said it was told he copied in the exam. So Nehru, in a funny way, said, okay, here if you copy from one person, there is copy. But if you copy from more persons or refer from more persons, it becomes research. The only thing is, whoever you refer to, you have to acknowledge it properly. But we have some methods for it. So if it is a journal, we have a method. Book, we have a method. So one simple solution, let me give you. So whenever you read, so if a particular line impresses you, you just save that page and you write in a note or you copy in a Word file and immediately copy that or just note down the author as well as the book or the article. Then when you go for research writing, while writing, if you acknowledge that, so that problem will be solved. Number one. Sometimes people go for unintentional plagiarism. Unintentional plagiarism means they do not know it was said by someone. So since they heard or read something again and again, that becomes part of their knowledge. Then without acknowledging other persons, just they write. So that becomes unintentional plagiarism. So a researcher should always ask, whenever you come across a new word, is it said by someone else? When? Where? No doubt. Then this problem will be solved. Yes, next, I hope I have answered your question. Hemalada, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, the next one, Hemalata, yes, raised a hand. Yes, ask. Yes, left the meeting. Yes, someone has by mistakenly they have asked questions. Yes.
Yeah,
Diksha Singh. Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you for clearing almost a lot of myths that we were having regarding the research writing. So, my question to you is, how can we create a proper balance between the need to stick to objectivity and our own interpretive framework in literary research? As it is always mentioned that we should be careful while we are making generalization and conclusion. So, how shall we, create a proper balance out of these two aspects?
Well, thank you, ma'am. It is a really beautiful question. I should have included this point. Well, fine. Actually, especially people who are doing qualitative research, especially English literature students. So we have a problem. We cannot say the things directly. We have so much of aesthetic sense. We always exaggerate things. So we write with adjectives, we write with adverbs. Just have an experiment of this. You watch a movie and write a small paragraph. So after writing that, you delete all the adjectives and adverbs, then it will be objective. For example, in writing, if you say, she is a beautiful girl of 20, right? So here it is not research writing. So in research, so you need just information. She is a girl of 20. So that is the exact writing. I hope you get my point.
Yes,
so
sir.
we use adjectives and adverbs, then it becomes something more exaggerated. So that, it is very, very difficult to hold that instinct, because we always want to give something more, because it is a teacher's instinct. We explain again and again, we improve things. But consciously, if you just hold back and avoid all these adjectives and adverbs, then this problem will be solved after the few pages.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, anybody else? You have questions to raise? Yes. I have a question to ask Dr. Joaquin.
Yes, sir.
In Indian context or in global context, we have a problem with the research. Okay.
Yes, sir.
In the sense of, is it because of that we don't have enough training, though we have research methodology, maybe in MPhil, maybe in earlier, but we have been trained in your BA, MA or BSc, MSc, all kinds of courses. We have a methodology, but is it a way that scientific training, that is systematic methodology, I would say that that's not being followed. That's why researchers find it very difficult. That's why the copying comes, the plagiarism comes, all these aspects comes because of that scientific training. And most of the research, in India or in context of the world, they say that even 90% of the research is just, the problem is because of the lack of scientific training. And what's your response?
Yes, sir. As you rightly said, most of the people do not have the orientation towards good research. So now let me point out one present move by Indian government. They have scrapped MPhil program. So mark my words, after a few years, PhD candidates will find it very difficult to write their PhD thesis, because MPhil, so they require a 75-page document of quality research. So that serves as a basis. That is a training platform, I would say, for PhD. So whereas in UG and PG, students mostly they concentrate on exams. They do not have the training, as you rightly pointed out, to do research. The thing is, at the beginning itself, even in from schooling itself, if we develop the attitude of inquiry, so what, when, how, where. So if they try to find solution for each and everything, then the research mind will be automatically inculcated. The research writing comes next. First, that research mind. But one positive thing at present I find in youngsters is because of this online shopping, everything, they don't fix with one product just like that. They compare the price of different marketers and service providers. Then they evolve an idea. Then they go for that. So if the same thing, so the same passion and interest they show on purchasing a product, if they show it on academic subject, then definitely this research inquiry can be improved. Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, sir. It was. Is there anyone who has any questions? Otherwise, we just move to the next session. And we wholeheartedly thank Dr. Joachim for his wonderful practical session. And he has once again proved that research is supposed to be knowledge creation. We need to produce new knowledge. Okay, and we need not only observe only knowledge. Okay. So we have in our society we have knowledge. We become knowledge observers rather than knowledge creators and knowledge producers. Our research is supposed to be knowledge producers, and he has proved it, how to write it. And we thank from the organizing team for your wonderful session and keeping us active and very attentive almost for an hour. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, dear participants, for your wonderful cooperation. Thank you.
Yes, we move on to the next session. Okay, I hope all are active. Okay. And the next session is by Dr. Christy Paulina. Okay. And nowadays I read every day the messages that she sends. Of course, I am in a WhatsApp group and I love to see how much time she spends. Okay. It's a right person to speak to us on research writing articles or publications, especially in a high impact factors. Okay. And I go through all the messages that she sends and I find it, wow, how much time, and she's the head of the department, and then she, how much time has been spent. Almost she's got more than 24 hours in a day, I hope. Okay. And Dr. Christy Paulina is actually the head of the department now, she serves. Okay. And also at Bishop Adwell College, okay, still now. And you also IQC coordinator and a very responsible person. Okay. And she also worked at St. Mary's College, Tuticorin, and also lecturer at the Infant Jesus College of Engineering, Tamil Nadu. And as a research, okay, of course, he has got university rank in French, in general English, and major subjects in university rank holders. Okay. And her PhD or BA, MA in St. Mary's College, and MPhil and PhD at Mananmani Sundarna University in Tamil Nadu. And her interest, there is an interest in making every research scholar to publish a good qualitative research, okay, not simply just for the namesake, but she has, taken up this, job of creating, or as I said, knowledge creators and knowledge producers rather than just, just cut and paste. Okay. And I find all her remarks in this one, she's a wonderful person. She's actually having a WhatsApp group for different subjects. Okay. So you can approach Dr. Christy for publishing or writing research articles. Okay. And a lot of lectures has been delivered. Okay. He's a research person for so many colleges and published wonderful papers in national and international journals. And I find, of course, her profile runs for more than 8 pages. Okay. And very happy that very eminent resource person is available with us today to talk to us on research article writing and publication in not just journal, because we can just find journals. Okay, the journals that you have today is, every time I find a journal, I find cloned journals. Okay, I was wondering, I was just looking, browsing through a journal. Yes, well, words, everything is correct, but I find it's from Turkey, but they are only offline, not online. So everything is now today becomes very, very difficult for us, whether to publish or to spend money. Okay, it becomes all our research scholars really find it very difficult. And here we have a person to illuminate us, to enlighten us on this topic of research article writing. It's an international workshop. It's not a national workshop. It's an international workshop. Of course, so many are there. And Dr. Ganesh and so many other persons from Malaysia, other places are there.